Let's head to Kenya now, where Member of Parliament Adan Kenyan has condemned Azimo's call for mass action at a time when Muslims are fasting during the holy month of Ramadan. In a statement on Friday, Kenyan said the demonstrations cast Kenya in a negative light to the world. He said that nothing substantial can support the Azimo political strategy or protesting as a solution to problems the nation is experiencing. Kenyana urged Azimo to call off the demonstrations, saying leaders should go back to the drawing board and seek other alternatives. Azimo leader Raila Odinga has called for demonstrations every Monday and Thursday against President William Ruto's administration. Let's have a chat about these protests in Kenya. Joining us now is political analyst Dr. Nancy Omolo. Doc, good evening to you and many thanks for your company here.
Thank you so much for inviting me to your station.
Indeed. Now, it's been a week of crisis in Kenya with the cost of living protests. Tell us what the general feeling is in the country now.
I think there's a lot of uncertainty in the country at the moment because the religious leaders have been calling for a dialogue on both sides so that they can avert the Monday demonstration. But so far, we've seen the President Ruto just said to Raila that no, that is not going to go for this. There's not going to be a dialogue, and the election has just ended. So it's really taking that's the stance he's taking, that there's no dialogue. And also Raila Odinga has said that nothing will stop him from holding countrywide demonstration, and he's called for his supporters to turn up on Monday. And actually, he's called this to be the mother of all demonstration. We had the other demonstration being called Date with Destiny. So, and we've seen politicians, various politicians on both sides have really taken a stance that, we are not going to negotiate. We don't want a handshake.
Indeed.
And so at the moment, we are still looking forward that Monday we might have a demonstration, but they still have 48 hours as well to talk to each other.
We'll see how that goes. Within those 48 hours, we've heard from Adan Kenyana, who's also asked for ceasefire. So to speak, from the Azimo leader, Raila Odinga. What do you make of this latest call? Could it make any changes or could it impact, the stance of the Azimo leader within the next 48 hours?
I think there's already dialogue going on, and I think maybe they've been going on for 1 week or so. But I don't think this is one-sided. It's for both sides to agree that they really want to talk. I don't think at the moment Honorable Raila Odinga has any option, and I think his only option at the moment is that for the demonstration to go on, because the government also is not ready to sit down and talk. And I think it's not just a demonstration. There were some issues they were talking about. Yeah, they reduced the high cost of living, and so far the high cost of living has not, has not come down. The prices of the fuel are still high. The cost of electricity, they've just announced now that the cost of electricity is going to go up. And also that makes the things which are manufactured to be expensive. If the cost of fuel is high, the cost of electricity is also high. There are also issues of inclusion and equal representation in the government. But I think when you talk about issues of inclusion or representation, it needs to go beyond the dialogue. It needs to come down and ask that, how are we engaging the youth in this society? How are we engaging the women? How are we engaging the marginalized people? So the dialogue needs to solve the political issues. But at the same time, it really needs to be about the people of Kenya, who some are going hungry. We also have issues of climate change. And I was watching the TV in the northern part of Kenya. I've just seen, over 10 people have died of hunger. They've lost their livestock, and they've not received rain in the last 5 years. And even up to now, they're saying that, the rains which are predicted to come is going to be less. So Kenyans have issues which have not been sorted out.
We'll see whether or not the next 48 hours could be a very changing 48 hours. But we also know that as of now, Raila has insisted that these protests will continue. We also know that the deputy president had said that the protests were hurting the economy. And one would think that for people who are fighting for progress in the economy, these calls about the economy being hurt by the protests will cause some change. Is this enough for the Azimio group or the Azimio party to begin to have a second think about the protests and perhaps call it off?
I think things were even worsened. Well, the Communication Authority of Kenya actually barred media from covering the next week demonstrations. And actually, certain group like the Law Society of Kenya, the Katiba Institute, actually went to court. And actually, the court has just barred the Communication Authority of Kenya from barring the media from covering that, because they're saying that they have the freedom of coverage. So we are seeing things happening here and there. But at the end of the day, these politicians, President Ruto and Honorable Raila, in 2007, they worked together. So they know each other. They all have homes which are neighboring each other. So at a certain point, we hope that they're going to talk, and they realize that at the end of the day is that the Kenyan is the one who's suffering from the high cost of living. And even if you look at Nairobi, 60% of Nairobians are living in the informal settlements. And when you talk to these people, there's a majority of Kenyan population who cannot afford 1 meal a day. So at the end of the day, they should prioritize what is best for this country, because when you have a peaceful political environment, then now there's space to discuss issues of development. But
I want to ask you: are you hopeful that these dialogues that are taking place right now will result in the kind of response that will appease both sides?
It's very hard to tell at the moment, but I think before you go into negotiation, I think everyone, take a specific stand, and both of us don't really want negotiations, but at the end of the day, they need to talk, and they need to have dialogue. And I think Kenya is so big to be for individuals, but at the end of the day, the leaders, we look forward, Kenyans look forward that, they're going to be dialogue, but I think there need to be more voices. At the moment, we're seeing a lot of the church leaders saying that we need dialogue. We're seeing the Muslim community coming out and saying we're going to have Ramadan next week, and we don't want to protest. But we need to see also the business community coming up strongly and say what they want. We need to see professional bodies like the teachers union, or even the doctors, or even the lecturers taking a stand and saying we want this country to take this direction. So we are still hopeful. 48 hours is a long time to go, and they say in politics even 1 hour is a long way to go.
Very well, we'll leave it here for now. We'll hope that the talks in the media at the moment will bring the parties to the table for a solution that puts Kenya first. Thank you so much for your time here, Dr. Omolo.
Thank you so much.